The jukebox wasn't playing. Maybe it was broken. Or maybe the man behind the bar just didn't turn it on. Either way, the room was quiet. But not a nice kind of quiet. It was the kind of quiet that feels like something bad is about to happen. Like a storm waiting to crash through the door. Outside, 3 big motorcycles came tumbling into the parking lot. The ground shook a little. Everyone inside the bar already knew who it was. It was the Hells Angels. They didn't knock on doors. They didn't ask if it was okay to come in. They just walked in, slow and loud, like they owned the place. And nobody told them otherwise. But there was one man sitting in the corner of the bar who didn't look at them. He sat at a small table, near a dusty old window. He wore a long-sleeve shirt and a cap. His hands looked old and rough, like he had worked a lot in his life. He didn't have a drink in front of him. He didn't move at all. Not even when the bikers came in. The bartender, a skinny man with skin burned by the sun, looked at the old man for a second. Then he quickly looked away. There was something about that old man that made the bartender feel strange. Not scared. Just be very careful. The 3 bikers sat down, their leather clothes making creaky noises. They took over 2 booths like they owned the bar. One of them, the biggest, laughed loudly and hit his hand on the counter as he told a story. The story wasn't funny. The bartender laughed anyway, not because he liked the joke, but because he had to. The old man in the corner still didn't move. The leader of the bikers had faded tattoos on his knuckles. He noticed the old man first. He leaned over and whispered something to the others. They all turned and looked. The old man was still sitting with his back to them. He looked like he didn't even know they were there. The bikers grinned. That was how it always started. Just a little grin. One of them got up. He grabbed a chair from another table. He dragged it across the floor really loudly, making an awful scraping sound. He wanted to see if the old man would move or flinch. But he didn't. The biker sat down at the old man's table, putting the chair backward and sitting like a cowboy. He spoke, but not in a nice way. The old man slowly looked up. His eyes met the biker's. He didn't blink. The biker froze for just a second. Then he laughed, slapped the table, and stood up. But he didn't sit back down. He went back to his friends and whispered again. This time, he talked about the old man's eyes. Outside, a pickup truck pulled into the lot. It was small and dusty, with license plates from the county. Probably just a local kid coming in for a soda and fries. The bikers didn't care. But for the first time, the old man looked at the door. Just for a second. Then he went back to being still. The bartender kept cleaning glasses while watching. He noticed something odd. The man's hands weren't shaking. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't drinking. His hands just sat there, one on top of the other. Perfectly placed. Like they were waiting to be told what to do. That was when the bartender realized something. The second biker wanted more noise. He went to the jukebox, even though it didn't work, and hit it with his fist like it had done something wrong. Then he shouted across the room at the old man. Still, nothing. People say trouble starts with noise, like a glass breaking or someone screaming. But real trouble? It starts in the quiet. When no one says anything, everyone feels something big is coming. The third biker was younger. He had a bad temper. He walked toward the old man like he was showing off. He stopped next to the table and looked at the old man, like he was checking him out. Then he did something rude. He flicked the old man's cap off his head. It landed on the floor. The old man didn't move at first. He waited. He let the younger biker walk back to his friends. Let them laugh. Let them feel proud. Then the old man stood up. He didn't do it quickly. No rush. Just stood. The whole bar went quiet. He bent down, picked up his cap, and dusted it off. Then he placed it back on his head. The bikers laughed again. But the bartender moved back, toward the kitchen. What happened next was fast, but not wild. The old man walked across the room. He didn't run. He didn't swing his arms. He just walked. In 2 steps, he was behind the young biker. In one move, like pulling a cloth off a table, the biker dropped to the floor. No yelling. Just the sound of someone losing their breath. Now, the bar was really quiet. Even the wind outside stopped. The leader of the bikers stood up. He didn't grab his weapon. Not yet. Not because he didn't have one, but because something didn't feel right. The old man wasn't smiling. He wasn't showing off. He just stood where the shadows met the wall. Now they saw it. The way he stood. Not like a normal person, but like someone trained. Like someone from the army. Not the kind who talks about it. The kind who lived it. Just then, Marcus Kane opened the door. He didn't ask what happened. He looked at the biker on the floor. He saw Jason Statham, older now, standing next to a tipped-over chair. Marcus didn't need to say anything. He just nodded. He had been waiting outside in his car. Watching. He knew Jason wouldn't start a fight, but if someone else started one, Jason would end it. The biker on the floor didn't move. Jason didn't go back to his seat. He just stood over him, eyes now watching the other two bikers. Marcus stood with his arms crossed, quiet, not stepping in. Just there. Everyone in that little bar now understood. This wasn't about fighting. It was about holding back. And that's what scared them most. The leader of the bikers, the one with the snake tattoo up his neck, moved his jaw. His fists tightened. But he didn't charge. Not yet. He was thinking. Because the way Jason Statham moved, or didn't move, told him something. This old man wasn't lucky. He was dangerous. A kind of danger that didn't go away after the war. The younger biker groaned on the floor. But he didn't get up. Jason didn't even look at him. His eyes were locked on the leader. The leader took one step forward. His face twisted into a fake smile. But he wasn't fooling anyone. Marcus Kane stepped to the side. He gave Jason space. He knew what was coming. This wasn't a regular bar fight. This was something serious. The bartender stood near the kitchen door. He didn't speak, but he remembered something he'd heard a long time ago. A story about a man in a secret unit. A soldier so hidden, even the government wouldn't talk about him. A man who walked away from that life, but never lost what he learned. The bartender looked again. That man, he was standing right here. One of the regulars tried to sneak out. His shoe made a scraping noise. Jason's eyes flicked toward the sound. Just a quick glance. The regular froze and sat back down. That look said more than yelling ever could. Then the leader spoke. He tried to make a joke. Loud. Rude. But no one laughed. Not even his friends. Because even his voice shook. Jason Statham didn't walk toward the bikers anymore. Instead, he turned and walked toward the bar. He stepped past the man who had fallen down. He walked past Marcus Siegel too. Then he stopped at the stool closest to the cash register. He picked up a cloth and wiped the blood off his arm. The bartender didn't say anything. He didn't even blink. He just watched like he was seeing a ghost clean up after itself. Behind Jason, the leader of the bikers said something to the last biker left. He mumbled about respect and who runs this town. But Marcus Siegel turned his head just a little. He looked the biker right in the eyes. That look was strong. So strong that the biker's courage disappeared right away. He sat down fast and didn't move again. Now, only the leader was standing. He looked around and realized he was all alone. He had to make a choice. He could keep trying to fight or he could leave. Jason Statham turned around. Now he was facing the leader directly. He didn't smile. He didn't frown. He just looked at him, calm and still, like a general in a war room, not a man in a bar. The biker leader took 2 small steps backward. Something inside him gave up. He spat on the floor like a last little show of pride. Then he turned around and walked toward the door. But the door didn't slam behind him. That's because he didn't walk out with pride. He walked out like a man who had been reminded of something important, something bigger than him. Jason Statham sat down again, but not in the same place. He picked a different table, closer to Marcus Siegel. They didn't talk. They didn't laugh. They just sat there, calm and quiet. The bartender slowly walked over. He was trying to make the bar feel normal again. He poured a glass of water and placed it on the table near Jason. Jason didn't drink it. He was still listening. Marcus Siegel finally said something, but only loud enough for Jason to hear. He said the boy who got hurt was lucky. He said things could have turned out worse. Jason nodded once. He didn't say anything back. A few minutes passed. Then the door opened again. But this time, it wasn't bikers. It was a woman. She looked about 40 years old. She had sharp eyes. She wore clothes that looked kind of like a mix between government and regular clothes. Everyone in the bar knew something was different about her, even before she showed her badge. She didn't show the badge to Jason or Marcus. She showed it to the bartender first. It was a polite way of saying, "I'm here on business." Then she turned to Jason. Her voice was careful. She sounded official. She said they had been tracking a signal. Someone Jason used to work with had turned something on in another country. And when that happened, Jason's name came up again. Jason's face didn't change at all. But Marcus Siegel moved just a little, like he knew this was serious. Jason asked one quiet question. The woman answered. Her answer wasn't good. Jason slowly pushed the glass of water away. He didn't get up yet. He just let the moment sit there, like it was full of heavy air. The bartender looked down. He didn't understand what "his name came up" meant. But he did know one thing. Jason Statham wasn't going to stay quiet much longer. Jason didn't speak for a while. The woman with the badge sat down across from him. She rested her elbows on the table. She acted like she had time to wait. But the way she stayed quiet told everyone she didn't. Marcus Siegel hadn't moved. He leaned on the wall near the jukebox. His arms were crossed, and one of his boots tapped the floor slowly and steadily. The name she told him. It wasn't just any name. It was a ghost from Jason's past. A ghost he had hoped would never come back. Cole. He used to be a teammate. A friend. But now he was missing from all the files. Hidden. Off the radar. But not gone. The woman with the badge said Cole had shown up again. Not in a report, but by accident. Someone had taken a picture in Eastern Europe. In that photo, Cole was standing behind a group of security guards. Those guards worked for a bad group. Jason didn't blink. He just nodded once. Marcus Siegel saw something change in Jason's body. Even while sitting, Jason's shoulders looked strong and focused. He was already thinking, planning, getting ready. The woman gave Jason an envelope. Jason didn't open it. He didn't have to. He already knew what was inside. Outside the bar, the sun was going down. Long shadows stretched across the gravel. The bikers were gone. Or maybe they were just hiding now. The air felt still, but not in a peaceful way. It felt like something big was about to happen. A teenage boy opened the bar door. He looked a little nervous. He held a takeout bag and said it was for someone named Statham. Jason didn't move. The bartender nodded at the boy and told him to put it down. Jason finally stood up. Every muscle in his body moved just right. He didn't look tired or slow. He looked like someone trained for moments like this. Marcus gave him a long look. He didn't say anything. But Jason understood what it meant. This was something serious. It wasn't something you could ignore. Not if it had to do with Cole. Not after what happened in Cyprus. Jason took the envelope now. Still didn't open it. He turned to the woman with the badge and asked if the agency knew where Cole was going next. She said no. But Cole had sent a message. It was a special message. Just a single line from an old secret code book. Only 3 people had ever memorized that book. Jason was one of them. It was a trap. But it worked. They walked outside. The sunlight was golden and low in the sky. Jason stood next to Marcus Siegel outside the bar. They both looked down the quiet road that stretched out in front of them. The road looked like it led nowhere, but also like it could go anywhere. The woman with the badge waited by her car. She pretended not to listen to them. Marcus asked Jason one simple question. Jason didn't answer with words. He just gave a small nod. Marcus reached into his coat and pulled out a piece of paper. It was folded and worn out from being carried for years. It was a map. Not a map you find online. An old one. With hand-drawn marks and special places circled. Jason took the map. He didn't ask questions. He knew Marcus had kept it ready just in case something like this happened. They didn't say goodbye. They didn't shake hands. They didn't even look at each other again. Because men like them didn't need to. They had already said everything that mattered, without words. Jason walked to his truck. It was the same dusty old truck he'd had for years. It still ran just fine. He didn't drive off fast. He backed up slowly. The tires crunched over the gravel. Marcus watched until the red tail lights disappeared behind the hill. Back inside the bar, the bartender looked at the glass of water Jason had pushed away earlier. It was still full. Still untouched. But somehow, it felt like a message. He picked it up and poured the water down the sink. Then the bar went quiet again. Cole's shadow was back, and it stretched far. But Jason's past? It stretched even farther. Because Jason Statham wasn't just a man with scars. He was a man with memories. Memories so deep, not even spies could find them. And now, those memories are waking up again. If you enjoyed this story, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next thrilling adventure or mysterious twist. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.